Welcome to Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. I'm Eric Allen, running the single wing here inside our BetMGM studio. There is Sam Darnold at MetLife Stadium. It's Jets-Browns today at a chilly MetLife Stadium. We're going to bring in Eric Coleman and Anthony Beck momentarily. But like I said, here I am inside the BetMGM studio. It's a lovely morning for football. Couple of news items to get to off the bat here, folks. The New York Jets are guaranteed a top 2 pick in the 2021 draft. I know a lot of people are focused on the draft right now, looking ahead as the Jets season will conclude next week in New England against the Patriots. And the other fact that we have to keep in mind is if the Jacksonville Jaguars lose their final 2 games, they will indeed have the top overall pick. If they win a game, I should say, then we'll have to see what happens. But the Jets are guaranteed a top 2 selection in April's draft. Now, like I said, before I bring in my partners, Anthony Beck and Eric Coleman, so much news to get to here this morning regarding the Cleveland Browns situation. Here was the official tweet from the team yesterday. They placed leading tackler B.J. Goodson on reserve COVID-19 list. And also, look at how their wide receiver corps have been decimated for this game. Deemed to close contact. Rashard Higgins, Hodge as well. But the leading name right there, of course, is Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones. All those guys will not see action against the New York Jets today. And finally, Jedrick Wills is actually activated, but he is going to miss the game because of sickness. So the Cleveland Browns, who are 10-4, right in the mix of the AFC playoff picture and still alive for AFC North title, as I bring in my cohorts, Anthony Beck and Eric Coleman, hey, they are missing a lot of people. And we talked about 2020 being such a unique year. Eric, how about that? How about the situation the Browns are facing? Because yesterday morning, that plane didn't depart Cleveland for a long time. We didn't know the status of this ball game. And much like the Denver Broncos faced earlier this year when they faced the New Orleans Saints, they had all those quarterbacks who were out of the lineup. The Cleveland Browns don't have many receivers up for this game.
Yeah, this is a very unique situation for the Cleveland Browns. 4 of their receivers are not going to be able to play, missing out on obviously Jarvis Landry, Peoples-Jones, several players that are typically contributing to their offense. But, good thing for the Browns, they have a very strong offensive line, one of the best in the NFL, and they're going to rely heavily on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the running game. They also have a great tight end. So the Jets still have their handful. It got a bit easier missing out on all those wide receivers, but they will definitely have to load the box up and gear up to stop that run today against the Cleveland Browns.
Anthony, your thoughts on that as far as the Cleveland Browns offensive attack? Sam Darnold gets a break because he's not going to be facing a leading tackler, B.J. Goodson, out of the lineup there. Browns dealing with some stuff on the defensive side of the ball. But especially when you look at the offensive side of the ball, Baker Mayfield and the Browns, they get after you in the run game, and they have an elite offensive line. But Jedrick Wills not in the lineup today, and also the receivers just decimated.
Yeah, so what will they have? Well, the receiving core for this game is going to be Jamarcus Bradley. Guess how many career catches he has? 0. They have Jedrick Wills, 3 career catches. His last one wasn't since October of 2018. And then Marvin Hall was picked up on waivers from the Detroit Lions, 36 career catches, 17 this season with the Lions. So he doesn't really know the offense coming in. Look, I expect a lot of 13, maybe even 14 personnel.
Wow.
And Eric talked about the tight ends. They have some really, really good tight ends. And guess what? They're all extremely athletic and more receiving tight ends than they are blocking tight ends. You got Austin Hooper, very athletic guy, big mismatch guy as far as he can be spread out, brought in. Harrison Bryant is a guy that they drafted this season, a lighter tight end with extremely good speed, one of the best tight ends in college football last season. And of course, David Njoku. I mean, talk about athleticism. He's a guy who can go up and make a ton of catches with his reach and his vertical jump. So expect those guys to play a little bit of receiver, but what that makes them is a little bit less of the playbook. They're not going to have all their options as far as their plays are concerned. So they're probably scrambling last night to put in and try to get those tight ends on point as far as what they want to run offensively. And then, of course, you talked about that running game, Eric. Load the box up this week, force these guys to make some tight quarter catches, and make Baker Mayfield be right on a small percentage of throws if, you have those kind of coverages involved in that man-to-man look and loading the box. So, look, a lot of advantages for the Jets today they can take advantage of.
Let's stay right there on Sam Darnold there at MetLife Stadium as the Jets and the Browns are preparing for their 1 o'clock game. Eric, what do you think about these lines from Sam Darnold this week? Quarterbacks and coaches in this league are always judged by wins and losses. That's it. And Baker, in regards to Baker Mayfield, is winning this year. And we haven't won as much this year as we would like to, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. A coach and the quarterback is judged by the wins and losses. They get the credit when they get all the wins, and when they lose, a lot of the blame goes to the quarterback and the head coach. So, he's right in saying that. The Browns have put something together. They put a special defense together. They've done a great job of preparing the offensive line and putting a lot of good weapons around Baker Mayfield to help him succeed. But ultimately, you would love to see Sam Darnold be in the same situation. You love to see the Jets be making a playoff run right now. And, listen, it's been a long season for us all. I think that Joe Douglas is going to have a big offseason. This is going to be exciting for all the Jets fans to see what happens in this offseason, but definitely looking forward to this Jets team being healthy, having everyone out there on the field, and as opposed to having everyone hurt, missing because of COVID, all the things that happened this year that are very quirky, but definitely look forward to the future for the Jets.
Anthony, what do you think about the dynamic of Baker Mayfield, #1 overall pick out of Oklahoma, of course, in 2018? A lot of people thought Sam Darnold was going to go there a couple years ago to Cleveland. Instead, the Jets traded up from 6 to 3, and they took the USC product, #3 overall. These two, in fact, have never started against each other in the National Football League. If you remember their rookie years, 2018, Tyrod Taylor got benched. Baker Mayfield came into the game and led the Browns to victory. And then last year, Darnold out of the lineup with mono, Trevor Siemian in the lineup. And that was the game that Myles Garrett really went off, and he wreaked havoc Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was never big on Baker Mayfield coming out of college. I thought he was an excellent player, obviously, at Oklahoma. But coming out, I didn't see the skill set. And really, you have to contribute his success because his first couple seasons really weren't heading in a direction that I thought the organization would embrace. Ed Stefanski, the new head coach, has really brought a new dimension and really taken some of those offensive, responsibilities off of his shoulder. They've turned into a power gap downhill running team, 2 outstanding running backs. They hit a home run with Hunt because of the fact that no one really wanted Hunt for his off the field issues, and they took a chance, and it's worked out for them. And the play action passes help Baker Mayfield make his reads a lot simpler. When you run the football and you have not a lot of defenders and coverage to deal with, that makes the job for the quarterback a little bit easier. And I don't even think going into this season, really for half the year, I really saw Baker Mayfield dominate a game passing-wise. But that last couple weeks ago against Tennessee, when he came out guns a-firing, threw 4 touchdowns in the first half, that was a strong game by him. So you see his confidence has grown because of the fact of what they've been able to do. But don't make no mistake, this offense is built on the run game, and everything plays off of that.
Anthony, real quickly before I jump back to Eric, Bill Callahan, offensive line coach. He's been in the league for a long time. In fact, one of his stops was here with the Jets. For my money, he's as good as anybody in the league. What do you say?
There's no question. I mean, when you're talking about top offensive line coaches, you're talking about Dante Scarnecchia, the longtime Patriots O-line coach, Bill Muir, who was a Jets, longtime Jet coach, and with me in Tampa Bay and in Kansas City. And then, guys like Howard Mudd. So, I mean, when you talk about offensive line legends, guys that have done it throughout different multiple platforms as far as different teams throughout the NFL. Bill Callahan's a guy that comes up, especially now. He's one of the few that's actually still in the league that have coached as long as he has. So, they've invested a lot of draft picks in their offensive line. They do have some injuries right now, but they've been able to, utilize heavy tight end packages and run the ball downhill. And they have extremely good running backs that not only can get downhill, but can make things happen and make people miss.
You are watching Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. There's Sam Darnold at MetLife Stadium right now, warming up. We are closing in on 90 minutes away from kickoff. I guess 110 minutes away from kickoff at MetLife Stadium. The Browns 10-4, unfamiliar position, fellas, closing in on a playoff berth, but their challenge just got a lot more difficult considering what has happened with the COVID situation and their team. Eric, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Jets have to deal with life without Quinnen Williams. I thought he played at a Pro Bowl level this year, leading the team with 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 14 quarterback hits. You felt his absence last week in LA because he was having a fantastic game against the Rams when he went out with concussion and neck injuries. Not only are the Jets going to have to play these final 2 games without Quinnen Williams, but Harvey Longy, who I think gave them a jolt at the inside linebacker position, also went to injured reserve with a neck injury, and Javelin Guidry, who has 3 forced fumbles from that nickel position, undrafted free agent out of Utah, he's likely out of this game as well. So the Browns juggling with their lineup, but the Jets defensively are going to have to adjust as well, E.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to life in late December. You always have to make changes. You have to the next man up mentality, and this is where your depth comes into play. December is one of those times where it's a battle of attrition. You're trying to get through this season, and guys are going to step up. Quinnen Williams, I think, in my opinion, deserved to be in the Pro Bowl this year. Was a phenomenal player on the interior of that defense, caused all kinds of havoc for opposing offenses. Guys like Fatukasi, Nathan Shepard are going to have to step up and play big today. That's a big void to fill, but I think as a group, this unit can come together and play some great defense. They've done it all year. Why stop today? I definitely think they're going to have a big challenge in their hand. But, all the younger guys are stepping up. This is an opportunity for guys to show that they deserve to be on this team moving forward. Because, at the end of the season, it's all about who's next, who's coming to the next year. And this is a great showcase for these young players.
Earlier this week, our own Olivia Landis caught up with Browns radio analyst Nathan Zagura for our latest installment of From the Broadcast Booth.
Heading into this contest, this Browns and Jets matchup this Sunday, when you look at these two teams in very, very different places, but for the Cleveland Browns, what immediately jumps out to you as the keys to success in Sunday's matchup?
Well, look, this is a team, Kevin Stefanski has been a huge difference maker for the Cleveland Browns. He's come in, and I like to say all the time, he's got the 3 Ps. This is a guy who is prepared. He's got a plan and a process to implement that plan. And he has kept his team focused every week. Let's go 1-0. That's the goal. Each game is the most important. And that's a big reason why this team has not lost 2 consecutive games. And in fact, I thought last week was a huge challenge coming off of an exhausting Monday night loss to the Ravens that a lot of people were calling the game of the year. It was an emotional loss. The Browns knew they had a chance to get that win. Now, they still made a statement in the game, but it wasn't the one they wanted. And for Kevin Stefanski to get these guys immediately focused on the next one was due in large part to the fact that he was the exact same that Tuesday morning as he was on a victory Monday morning following the team's then 9 wins prior. Now they've got 10 on the year. So I think his steadying hand has been great. He's clearly a brilliant play caller and schemer. The Browns have 4 guys on their offensive staff who have all called plays in the NFL at one point or another. They work together. It's a collaboration. The players are bought in. It really is just a unified team. And the Browns have had plenty of adversity as well this season in terms of injuries. I know the Jets certainly on the defense and what you thought that defense would be. You guys have been decimated, whether it be injury, opt-outs, trades, etc. The Browns have had a ton of injuries as well. Everybody has missed some time. Odell's out for the season. Denzel Ward's missed games. Myles Garrett has missed games. Wyatt Teller, who's playing the best guard in football, he's missed games. Nick Chubb's missed 4 games. So it's a team that I think there's a lot of togetherness, a lot of cohesion, and then really a testament to the players and to the coaches is that the next man has been able to not only just step in, but step up consistently all year long.
I'm looking forward to this Sunday's matchup, but thank you so much for your time, Nathan. I really appreciate it.
Good stuff from Liv and Nathan Zagura, Browns radio analyst. Listen, the Cleveland Browns, unfamiliar territory, 10-4, still in the mix for that AFC North division title. Pittsburgh Steelers really struggling, 3-game losing streak right now, but the Browns come to MetLife in need of a victory. They're going to have to overcome some adversity here. That's the bottom line, and as Eric Coleman mentioned before here on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi, that's life in the National Football League right now. No Jedrick Wills, the rookie offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns. He's out with illness, but as I bring back Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman, Anthony, one impressive rookie offensive tackle is going to be in the lineup, and that's going to be on the other side of the ball. That's Mekhi Becton. It's monster matchup time.
It is monster matchup time. I'm going to start off with, these 2 running backs for the Browns are really good. I mean, it's the best combination in the NFL. So Neville Hewitt and company, in particular him, he's going to have great eyes and great discipline going against Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. 2 versatile backs. Nick Chubb is your downhill, strong, tough, aggressive power runner in between the tackles. Don't sleep on Kareem Hunt doing the same, but he likes to bounce outside. He's got great quickness, agility. He can spin off blocks, knock guys off with his legs. Both of these guys' lower bodies extremely strong and big. Really hard to tackle them with one guy. So you're talking about Neville Hewitt's going to have to get there, but the party's going to have to rein in and really wrap these guys up. So, take away the run and force Baker Mayfield to beat you with his arm. I think that's ultimately going to be the biggest deal in this game, Eric.
Bad transition by me because I forgot Eric was actually going to take the Jets offensive tackle. I set that up poorly, but you're going to save me here.
Oh, I got you, EA. Listen, my monster matchup today is the big ticket Mekhi Becton against Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is a pass rusher that has been harassing quarterbacks since he came into this league. He's big. He's 6'4", 272 pounds, has 11 sacks on the year. This is going to be a great challenge for Mekhi. Mekhi, typically, he's had trouble with some smaller defensive end. This is a big, strong defensive end, so it's going to be a true 2 monsters going head-to-head. I'm excited to see Mekhi go against Myles Garrett today and see if he can dominate against an all-pro type defensive end.
Anthony, what do you like best about Becton as far as what you've seen so far this season?
He can shut you down because he can get on you now. I think that's the biggest thing. That'll be a little bit of something to keep an eye on with Garrett. Myles Garrett has a plethora of arsenal to his pass rush. But does he really want to go at him at all in this football game? I like this. Probably going to see a lot of more quickness moves, spin moves, different things to kind of like Eric was talking about, keep Mekhi Becton on his toes a bit, get him leaning a little bit. So, look, this is one of the best in the business, and Becton's going to have his hands full. But this is a great matchup to watch, and he's really gone against some premier pass rushers. So I'm excited to see this matchup. This is only going to make him better, and he's been one of the best, not rookies, but tackles in the NFL.
That is a strong statement, and it's accurate. In 49 career games, guys, Myles Garrett has 41.5 sacks. We go back to last week, the Jets' impressive outing, where a 17.5-point underdog or 17-point underdog in L.A. when they beat the Rams 23-20. They were the better team. Yes, the Rams might have been sleeping a little bit, but the Jets won at the line of scrimmage, and one of the primary reasons why was Mekhi Becton. He didn't allow any pressures to the Rams at all in 36 pass blocking snaps and 65 total plays in the Jets win. So let's see how he follows that up today. And I'm also very interested to see if Myles Garrett stays on his side, or does he flop sides? Does he flip over to George Fant's side to stay away from him? That's going to be very interesting to see. For my monster matchup, I'm going back to Baker Mayfield against the Jets' defensive backs. Marcus May is the leader back there, the team MVP, rightfully so. 2 interceptions this year, more than 60 tackles. He's been the leader of this entire team, if you ask me, and he rightfully so picked up that award the other day. Baker Mayfield's been on a tear of late, guys. 10 touchdowns, I believe, in his last 4 games, just 1 interception. 6 of the last 7 games, he has not turned the ball over, where those were the questions you had with Baker Mayfield earlier this season, was he was becoming a turnover machine. And like you both have mentioned here throughout Pregame Central today, presented by Pepsi, the Browns just have such a strong run game that even on 3rd down sometimes you will see the Browns try to convert by running the football. Excellent offensive line, 2-headed monster in the backfield. But can the Jets force Baker Mayfield to turn it over today? Bryce Hall came up with his first career interception last week. You got Arthur Millette, who's flipped over and playing free safety for you now. Obviously, Bless Austin on the outside with Bryce Hall. And then we're going to have to see how the Jets go about filling that nickel void today if Javelin Guidry is indeed out of the lineup. But for more on today's game, let's hear from Jets head coach Adam Gase.
Cleveland runs it as well as anybody in the National Football League, and Bill Callahan's such a fine offensive line coach. You guys, big-time challenge for everybody up front without Quinn Williams.
Yeah, Coach Callahan, he does as well as anybody. You see most of the guys that he's ever been with, they got top 10 offenses when he's there, and when he's not, things change a little bit. He'll have offenses being able to run the ball as well as anyone. He's always been a tough guy to go against if you're on the defensive side. But we just got to do a good job. We got to do a good job of game tackling. We can't allow run after contact. This got to be a good defensive team effort.
And what does Sam Darnold have to do against this defense coming off his finest effort of the season?
We got to do a good job of protecting the football, getting it out quick. We got to run the ball well. I mean, he's just got to make good decisions. He's got to understand the situation he's in and know when to throw it away, know when to get it out of his hands, know when to hold on to it to take a shot down the field.
The Adam Gase Show airs locally here on CBS2 at 11:30 a.m. So once we're done with Pregame Central, flip over to CBS2. If you miss it at 11:30, you're in luck because we got it on NewYorkJets.com and the Jets app. As we look ahead to Jets-Browns today at MetLife Stadium, let's go across the studio right now and bring in Ethan Greenberg for another installment of All In or Not Today.
Thank you very much, EA. Anthony Becht, you ready to kick us off as always?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you were talking about Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, that Browns rushing attack, 3rd in the NFL right now. Nick Chubb averages 5.6 yards per carry, but let's actually talk about this Jets rushing attack that gets LaMichael Pirine back in the lineup after he was activated from injured reserve yesterday. Will the Jets rush for at least 125 rushing yards, Anthony Becht, all in or not today?
I'm going not today. I think they're going to have a good game. It's going to be a collective effort. And I think, actually catching the ball is going to be more. But when you look at what the Browns have done, the one thing they've been really strong on is against the rush. And, I think this will be one of those games where we're going to try to take something away from the Jets. And I think it'll be the running game.
All right. One for not today. Eric Coleman. This has been the Eric Coleman All In or Not Today special. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All in or not today, EC, the Jets will score on their opening possession for a 9th consecutive game.
I'm all in on that one. I doubted the team last week, said they wouldn't score on their 8th consecutive game, but I was wrong. I'm going to say all in. I think they've done a great job of game planning, coming out with great tempo, and I think that does not slow down today. 9 games in a row with a score on the opening drive. I'm all in.
All right, potentially a good omen for the Jets on their opening drive because if you remember, Eric Coleman said all in that the Jets would actually set that franchise mark a couple weeks ago, even though he might have doubted the team last week. EA, the tiebreaker, as always. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, you talked about it earlier, the number 1 and number 3 overall picks in 2018. Baker Mayfield will have more turnovers today than Sam Darnold. All in or not today?
So real quickly, I got to read you these stats. 6 of the last 7 games for Baker Mayfield, no interceptions. Really incredible, fellas. 25 touchdowns this season, 8 interceptions. But Sam Darnold has 2 straight games with no interceptions. I think he's coming off his finest performance of the season. There's no doubt about that. But I'm calling for a push here today, Greens. And as the graphic just showed, not today. So it's a push. I think both these guys are going to protect the football. I think Sam Darnold's feeling awfully good about himself. He was decisive with his reads last week. He got the ball out quickly. I think we're going to continue to see that from the Jets as they scheme up against a Browns ferocious front. But on the other side of the ball, I think the Browns are going to rely on that running game. I could see a very low-scoring game today at MetLife Stadium.
All right, so not today takes the crown and all in or not today for Week 16. BetMGM, the official gaming partner of the New York Jets, is bringing fans a free New York Jets weekly pick'em contest. To enter, just sign up and make predictions on how this week's game will play out. You can download the Jets app today for a chance to win an MGM Resorts trip package and free bets at BetMGM Sports. You can play for free every week. You must be 21 years or older. Restrictions do apply. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so now it's time for Fearless Predictions. I'll kick things off. Then we'll go to Anthony Becht, Eric Coleman, and EA will take us home as always. So one of the monster matchups, it was actually Eric Coleman's monster matchup, was Mekhi Becton and Myles Garrett. EA said it last week, or about last week rather. Mekhi Becton didn't allow a pressure. Myles Garrett has 7 career sacks against the Jets in 3 games. So my fearless prediction, Anthony Becht, is that Mekhi Becton will stonewall Myles Garrett, and he will not have a sack on the big ticket.
I like it, man. I think that's going to be a great matchup we're all going to want to watch. My fearless prediction, honestly, Eric Allen, I'm going to help you with the whole turnover situation. I say 2 interceptions the Jets defense will have today. And the reason why I say this is because, number one, we know their receivers are down for this game, their top 4 receivers. The one problem you're going to have as a quarterback is trusting guys to be in their spots, in their routes, their depths, whether it's a new receiver that's been called up from the practice squad or a tight end that's been pulled over to run the receiving routes. If you're not going to be on the same page, there may be some hesitation by Baker Mayfield. To me, that equals disaster. So I'm looking for the Jets to get minimum 2 interceptions in this game.
Wow.
I like where you're going, AB. I love the turnover part, but I'm going to go over to the offensive side of the ball because initially my fearless prediction was that the Jets are going to hold Jarvis Landry to under 100 yards receiving, but COVID already took care of that one. So I'm going to switch it up and say that Denzel Mims is going to have his first 100-yard receiving game today. He's going to ball out, get a lot of opportunities today. So that's my fearless prediction.
Okay, thanks as always to Ethan Greenberg for another fabulous installment of All In or Not Today and Fearless Predictions. We're closing in on inactives here. Marcus May, laser-like focus as you would anticipate. He's the guy who I think you got to credit for. You got to give a lot of credit to, fellas, as far as keeping this team together, because I think after what happened against the Raiders and then the follow-up in Seattle, a lot of teams with less character, they would not have had that kind of effort in LA. And May got these guys together, and they went out and beat a very good Rams football team. As I bring back both Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman, Anthony touched upon this a little bit here earlier. Eric, what's the defensive game plan today against a team that is missing so many receivers, including Jarvis Landry? That is Baker's go-to guy, as Anthony just articulated, and he's predicting some turnovers. But what do you do coverage-wise and also blitz scheme-wise against Baker Mayfield? And Anthony also said it, this is a team that has 3 very good tight ends.
Well, EA, it's a great question. The blitz scheme-wise is going to be difficult because I believe, like Anthony mentioned, the Browns are going to come out with a lot of 13 personnel, meaning one running back, 3 tight ends, maybe even 14 with 4 tight ends. That's always tough because if you call a blitz, they can always line up close to the line of scrimmage. And now you thought it was a passing situation. They're lined up all in the core, and you can't really run your blitz from that position. So I expect a lot of cover 3, cover 4, freeing up those safeties, giving Marcus May an opportunity to read his tight end. If he blocks, he's in run support. If he releases, it's man-to-man. That was always my favorite coverage, playing against a very good tight end. So I expect a lot of cover 4 today from the Jets and just mix up a lot of zone, maybe throw in some run blitzes, but they're definitely going to have to load up to stop that run of the Cleveland Browns.
Anthony, final point from you. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. After what we saw from Sam Darnold and company last week, where they not only scored on their opening possession for an 8th consecutive game, where I really thought they took steps forward, was they came out of after halftime and they went right down the field and scored a touchdown. So what do you want to see from them today? We saw a short passing game last week. He was getting the ball out of his hands quickly, Sam Darnold. And you saw positive steps forward from both Chris Herndon and Jamison Crowder. Maybe we'll see some opportunities, more opportunities for Denzel Mims and Brashad Perriman today.
Yeah, it'd be great. You know, I always am a firm believer of Sam Darnold's athleticism. I really think his legs is a difference maker to really making this offense much better than it should be. You know, if he can get 45 minimum yards with his legs, you know, look, if you're getting the ball out of your hand quick and those reads aren't there, what do? You take off, protect yourself, get those yards. I mean, those are hidden gems there when you're talking about really just, you know, taking the legs out of the defense. You know, they stop you. All of a sudden now you got a quarterback that can move around. I'm not asking him to turn into a running quarterback, but I'm asking him to, you know, utilize the weapons that has at his disposal. If he does that, I think he can be very dangerous in this football game.
Okay, fellas, we're going to see you later for Jets Overtime as always. Tremendous analysis here this morning. And folks who are here locally, you can turn on CBS right now. The Adam Gase Show is starting over there on CBS, and you can watch it on NewYorkJets.com and Jets app. There's a couple things we got to get to. Again, I started the show by saying this has to be repeated. The Jets are guaranteed a top 2 overall pick in the 2021 draft. If the Jacksonville Jaguars lose both of their final 2 contests, they are guaranteed to have the number 1 overall pick. If Jacksonville loses their final 2 games and the Jets win their final 2 games, the Jets are going to stay right where they are, number 2 overall. And oh, by the way, they do have 2 first-round picks in the 2021 draft. They have 8 picks in the first 3 rounds over the next 2 years. It's 8 picks over the next 2 years in the first 3 rounds. 2 first-round picks next year. But today it's all about the Jets and the Browns. How are the Jets going to respond after their first victory last week against the LA Rams? The Cleveland Browns dealing with a lot of COVID issues, decimated the receiver position. Out also is their leading tackler on defense and their bright young rookie tackle, Jedrick Wills. Let's look at today's inactives real quickly. Javelin Guidry's the big name here, folks. He's been playing really well at that nickel position for the New York Jets defensively. So the name to keep an eye on today at home, Elijah Campbell. Don't be surprised at all if the first-year player takes over Guidry's duties at the nickel spot. We will be back here for Jets Overtime presented by Duncan 1 hour after the final whistle. It is a beautiful day at MetLife Stadium. Jets Browns, enjoy your afternoon, everyone.